There's revelation in your relationships. A lot of the reason why you haven't reached your fullest potential, a lot of reasons you haven't pursued the opportunities that are meant for you or the things that you are called to is because you haven't been exposed to people to stir that up. You haven't been exposed to around people who can ignite that in you, right? See, your relationships are limiting you, right? If you don't start to hang out with different people, you're never going to know what your full potential is. You're never going to know what's really on the inside of you because you're hanging around with the same people who doing the same thing, talking about the same crap. And yeah, they may be influential in the arena that you're in, but you may be called to impact energy. But because all you're doing is hanging around a bunch of theological people, you're never going to have the impact and energy that you are designed to have, right? Because you're hanging around, you may want to be a psychologist, but because you're hanging around engineers, now you aren't exposed to the psychological aspects that you need to be exposed to so you have an understanding. Let me challenge you with this. A lot of times we don't pursue and we don't expand our relationships out of fear of, I don't fit there, out of fear of, I'm not the traditional. That's the beauty of it. The beauty of breaking into new networks and not being the status quo, not being the person that looks exactly like it. The beauty of that is you bring new insight. The beauty of that is you get to come in with a new, fresh perspective and you get to add to the industry because now you're hearing their perspective, but because you haven't been infiltrated by it all, you actually can bring something new and fresh eyes and fresh ears to the work that they are doing. So my challenge to you guys today, I know you are the average or the sum total of those that you hang with, the 5 people that you hang with, but I'm going to challenge you to add one new person who doesn't look like you, who doesn't act like you, who doesn't walk like you, talk like you, sound like you, who isn't in the same industry as you to your network. Because so often we try to mirror and mimic people that look exactly like us, and then we end up being more of the same, right? If you truly want change, you are going to have to do uncomfortable things. You're going to have to learn to move beyond what your capabilities are. You're going to have to learn to quit, and let me say this, I'm not into politics by any stretch of the imagination. I have no desire to be a politician. I don't care about it from the standpoint of knowing every move and everything that I want to know what's going on in my community. I want to know what's going on globally. I want to know those things so that I can have the impact that I can have, but I don't follow politics on a day-to-day. But one of the things that is starting to really irk me are people who want to sit around all day and complain about Trump. And you know what I always say to them? I say, you know why you're sitting here complaining about him? Because he got sick of seeing something in the political arena. And he said, good, bad, or indifferent. He said, you know what? I'm going to be the difference. While I may be a businessman, I may be a real estate tycoon, who said that I can't go into politics? He didn't care that people said you're not a politician. He didn't care. And guess what? He went and infiltrated that arena because he saw a problem and he said, I got a solution. The solution may be dysfunctional or whatever you want to call it. But guess what? While you sitting over here still trying to decide, you know what? Well, I'm not good enough. I don't know if I can. I don't have the experience. While you sitting up here contemplating and trying to figure out how he did it. So I don't want to hear another person complain when you have the capabilities. If you have the desire, go into the arena. Whether you are qualified or not, start to hang out with those people. Start to go into those areas and watch the doors open. Watch how your perspective is expanded. Watch how your mind is shifted when you start to infiltrate those areas and you start to see things from a different vantage point because now you're in the center of it versus standing on the outside talking about it. Guess what? Your network is either limiting you or growing you. There should be revelation in your relationships. If you are in relationships where you're just mimicking and imitating more of the same, I want to challenge you to step outside of those relationships and begin to walk into new relationships that are going to pull you, that are going to grow you, that are going to give you new insight and revelation. Because guess what? There's some impact that you're supposed to have. There's a problem that you're supposed to solve, but you aren't even aware of the problem because you're comfortable, because you're hanging around with people that make you feel safe. You're hanging around with people that's doing more of the same. And so guess what? That familiarity of the same is keeping you stuck. So with that being